Level 1, 5'4". You're 22. Up on the bottom rung of a barstool just to get your eyes level with the room, and somewhere out there is a 6'5" version of you who'll never once have to do this. Right now you'd hand over everything you own to be him. You can't reach the top shelf. The good bottle's up there, and Maria a girl who looks like Sydney Sweeney. The only person you came here for scans the room for someone tall enough to get it down. Her eyes pass right over the top of your head, twice. You step forward, hand half up, still up on that rung, and she clocks it. The stool, the stretch, the little man trying to buy 2 inches. Not you, sweetie. She nods at the 6'3" guy behind you. Him! I need someone who doesn't need a boost. He grabs it one-handed, doesn't even go up on his toes, and she's laughing at his joke before he finishes it. She never looks back. He takes her home that night. You find out Monday in detail from a buddy who genuinely figured you'd want to know. You didn't get rejected. Rejected means she saw you first. You're under the line where the sorting even starts. That 6'5" version of you, the one this whole room reaches up to, has everything you're on a stool for. By the end of this, you'll watch him drive across town to give it back, because the reach was never what she took. Level 2, 5'6". So how tall are you exactly? She asks it before she asks your name. 11 minutes into a first date from Hinge, and she's already got the spreadsheet open. Not cruel about it. Just taking inventory the way you'd check your bank balance before deciding if you can afford what's in your hand. You say 5'7", you're 5'6". Everyone adds the inchits, the one tax nobody talks about. She tilts her head, runs the math on you in real time, and quietly subtracts 2. Now you're 5'5" in her file and you haven't even touched your drink. 5'6" clears a bar that 5'4" never could. You qualify to be considered now. That's the upgrade. You're not furniture anymore, you're a candidate. And being a candidate means you've taken a second job you never applied for. Standing very still while a stranger decides what you're worth before you've said one worthwhile thing. So you do the thing all of you do. You start building the case. You mention way too casually that Zuckerberg's 5'7", Bezos too. Half the men running the planet are looking up at the rest of the room. And the second it leaves your mouth you hear it for what it is. A man reading his receipts out loud, arguing for his own existence between bites of a $19 pasta. She nods, polite. Then the knife, soft-handled. You're actually really funny. Actually, that word does so much work. Actually means despite. Actually means you'd already been filed under no and you climbed out of the folder for 1 second on a technicality. You spend the rest of dinner staying funny enough to keep the actually breathing. You go home to a quiet apartment and you don't cry. Because it isn't sad exactly, it's just arithmetic. And here's what nobody warns you about. The math doesn't make you bitter. It makes you specific. You start showing up to the gym at 6 in the morning not to get taller. That door is welded shut but to become undeniable in every category they left unlocked. Short men don't get handed the brick. They build the whole wall around it. That chip on your shoulder has done more reps than any tall man's confidence ever will. Your mother calls on a Sunday, asks when you're going to find someone. You say it's complicated. She says the thing mothers say, the thing that lands harder than she knows. You'll find someone who actually sees you. There's that word again. Sees. You sit with it a long time. Because you're starting to suspect the whole game, at every height, is one long fight to be seen before you get measured. And you keep picturing him the 6'5", you certain he's the one who finally wins it. You don't know yet what the number costs once it gets bigger. You're about to find out it doesn't get better. It just gets quieter. Level 3, 5'8". You list 5'8" on the app, honest, and the matches flatline. So one night, bored and a little angry, you change a single number. 5'8" becomes 6 foot. You don't touch a single photo. Same face, same jokes, same you. The matches triple in a weekend. Read that again. Your face did not move. Your jokes did not get funnier. 6 characters in a text field rewrote what hundreds of women decided about you in half a second. You screenshot the before and after not to show anybody, just so the part of you that still believes the face matters has proof that it doesn't. 5'8" is supposed to be the safe number. Average. Nobody's idea of short. That's exactly the trap. You're too tall to be invisible and too short to be chosen the cruelest height there is. At 5'4", they at least felt something when they looked past you. At 5'8", they feel nothing at all. You're a flat line on somebody's chart. You go on the date the fake number bought you. You wear the shoes with the hidden inch. She clocks it in 10 seconds. There's a way a woman's posture moves when she revises you downward. The lean comes back 2 inches. The arms recross. The warmth dims like a phone screen going to sleep. You've watched it so many times you can call the timing. You spend the whole dinner being slowly placed back on the shelf. That night you delete the 6 foot. Put the 8 back. Not because you found your morals, because you're tired. You'd rather get sorted out honestly than tolerated as a rounding error someone's too polite to correct. Maria's at a mutual friends thing that weekend. Same Maria. She's warm to you now, the way you're warm to a coworker's dog, easy, weightless, free. You're sweet, she says. Sweet. Tall men are never sweet. Tall men are intense. A lot. Intimidating, honestly. Nobody hands a tall man sweet. Sweet is the participation trophy for not being a threat. You take it because it's the most she's ever given you. You tell her, half a joke, that in another life you're 6'5" and she'd have spotted you across the bar before you opened your mouth. She laughs like it's the funniest thing she's heard all night. You don't laugh because you can see him now, the 6'5" you, and you've decided he's the one who finally gets to feel seen, the one she crosses the room for, the one who never builds a case for himself because his case is the first thing anyone reads. You're wrong about him. You just don't know it yet. And the only question keeping you up tonight is the one you can't answer. Is any of this personal, or is it just the tape measure, running the whole show without bothering to ask either of you? Level 4? 5'10"? The promotion goes to Dan. You find out in a meeting, listening to your manager say Dan's name with a warmth he has never once aimed at you. You built the thing that's getting somebody promoted. Dan presented it. Dan is 6'2" and just has presence. That's the actual word presence. Like it's a skill. Like Dan trained for it instead of being born with 2 extra inches of bone. 5'10" is the most insulting height there is, and nobody talks about it. You're 1 inch under the line. 1. At 5'4", you knew the game wasn't built for you, and you made a kind of peace with that. At 5'10", you can read the menu at the table you're not seated at. Leader, competent, trustworthy, safe. The whole verdict hangs 2 inches over your head. Close enough that you keep jumping for it. Close enough to convince you it was almost yours. They call you ambitious. They call Dan a natural leader. 2 words handed out the same week, and they are not the same word. Natural leader is something you are. Ambitious is something you're doing visibly, a little desperately, like a man who knows he has to. Ambitious is what they call the short guy who refuses to sit down and accept the chart. So you quit trying to be tall. You can't win that one. You go undeniable instead. You out-prepare the entire room. You build the thing nobody asked you to build. And a client, a big one, a name you'd drop to impress somebody, picks you. Over Dan. Over presence. Asks for you by name in a follow-up and copies your manager on it. You read that email 4 times. For the first time in your life, the height didn't cast the deciding vote. The work outvoted the inches. It can be done. It just costs you 3 times what it cost Dan every single time forever. Then comes the offsite, group photo. The photographer waves people into rows on instinct, and you already know you've always known exactly where you'll be told to stand. Back row, far edge, half your face behind Dan's shoulder. You find your spot before he even points. You've been finding your spot in group photos your whole life. The picture goes up in the office. You look at it once and never again. Because no matter how undeniable you make yourself, the first read of you still happens in total silence before you open your mouth. In the half-second, a stranger's eyes travel from your shoes to your face, and you're starting to wonder what actually really changes the day. A man finally clears that line. You're imagining a door. It's a trapdoor. Level 5, 6 feet. You say something completely average in a meeting, a fine idea, B-, delivered in a flat voice, and 3 people nod like you've just read it off a stone tablet. 6 foot, on the dot, the magic number. You didn't grow into it, and you didn't earn it in this life. You simply have it. Same face you've worn at every height. Same jokes, same brain. But the first read flipped. Strangers assume you played a sport. A barista calls you boss. You walk into rooms already holding credit you haven't spent yet. You feel the nod land the way a trader feels a stock he's been shorting for months finally tick up a hit of something warm and a little sick. So you run the experiment because you have to know. 20 minutes earlier, a shorter colleague said the exact same idea. Word for word. The room let it die in the air. You wait, you repeat it back, and now it really lands. Heads turn. Someone says, good point. You get the credit for a sentence that was dead on arrival when a 5'7" guy said it first. That's when the guilt shows up, because the system isn't rewarding you. It's punishing him. The inches aren't a bonus you won, they're a tax somebody else is paying in the next chair in real time. And in the 5-4 life, the barstool life, you were him. You know exactly what that chair feels like. You're just on the other side of the table now, pocketing the thing you used to watch travel away. Someone at the office party can't reach a bottle on the top shelf and turns to you. Hey, you're tall, grab that. You bring it down flat-footed. Easy. And for 1 second you're 22 again, on a stool, watching a 6'3" stranger do this exact thing while a woman says, "Not you, sweetie." The reach came back. It's in your hand. And it feels like almost nothing. You spent years aching for a thing that, up close, weighs about a pound. Maria's across the room. You catch her looking at you a half-second longer than you're looking at her. Same Maria. Same eyes that slid past you at 5'4". The only thing different in the entire equation is 6 inches of empty air above your head, and that air is doing all the talking. You should feel like you won. What you actually feel is this. The room stopped seeing you the exact moment it started seeing the height. They're not looking at a man. They're reading a number and filling in the rest. And the 6'5" version of you, the one you've envied this whole time, is just 5 inches further up the same cruel tape. You're about to find out what's waiting at the top of it. Level 6. 6'1". She introduces you to her friends like this. And look how tall he is. Before your name. Before what you do. Before one single thing about you that you actually chose. Look how tall he is, like she's showing off a car she just leased. At 6'1", the dating thing finally cracks open. Women approach you. First, unprompted, the thing you used to fantasize about. The first few times you feel something close to vindication. Finally. Chosen. The tape swung your way and the door swung open with it. Then you start hearing the words underneath the words. You date a woman with her own quiet confidence, the kind not running any spreadsheet, and for a few weeks it feels like the real thing. Then one night, fondly, no malice in it, she mentions her last 3 boyfriends were all over 6 foot. She's not insulting you. She's confirming you. You're not her partner. You're her type, verified. So you run it backwards because you've always got to know. On a date, you slouch. Hard. You kill the posture you spent years building. You bring up your back, your bad knee, how you don't actually like basketball. You make yourself small on purpose and watch the interest drain from her face in real time, the same 2-inch lean from the 5-8 days. Except now, it's leaving instead of arriving. The asset was the inches. You adjust the guy delivering them. It's the same machine from every level. At 5'6", they priced you cheap. At 6'1", they price you expensive. Nobody ever stopped pricing. They just changed the number on the tag. 2 a.m. Your feet hang off the bed, the ceiling a little too close. A woman asleep beside you who'd describe you, accurately, as a great catch. And the word sitting on your chest in the dark is tall. Not partner. Not him. Tall. Honest in a way she'd be horrified to know she meant. Here's what you can't say out loud, because it sounds insane. You miss 5'4". Back then, the few women who stayed had no reason to. There was no asset to want. If they wanted you, they wanted the only thing left when you take the inches away. You. Maria texts that week. First time she's ever started the conversation. You photograph really well. That's it. And underneath it you hear the whole truth. In the 5'4" life, this same woman never typed a word. You grab a bottle off a top shelf at her friend's place without even thinking, and the whole table watches like it's a magic trick. The reach is yours now. It's the only thing about you they can see. And you're beginning to wonder what the next inch takes from a man when the body has already become the entire transaction. Level 7. 6'2". You walk into the conference room and it goes quiet before you've said a word. The meeting waits for your read on things you haven't even heard yet. Your review comes back with the phrase, commanding leadership presence. You do the same things at 6'2" that got the 5'10" you called aggressive, interrupt, push, take up space, except now the identical behavior reads as authority. At 6'2", you became the Dan, the natural leader, the one with presence. And somewhere a 5'10" version of you is standing at the back of the group photo, resenting you for a thing you didn't earn either. They don't promote your work. They promote your silhouette. Only the shadow changed. For about a week it feels like the summit. Then you learn what comes with it. A late train. Something ugly starts up at the far end of the car, raised voices. A guy escalating, that electric quiet when a crowd senses it's about to go bad. And without a word, every face on that train turns to you. You're the biggest body present. The job's been assigned. Nobody asks if you're scared. Nobody cares that your heart's going like a rabbit's. The height drafted you into a fight you didn't pick. And stepping back isn't an option, because a 6'2" man who flinches isn't reasonable, he's a coward. You handle it. You always handle it. That's the deal nobody mentioned. Later, with someone you're actually starting to trust, you try to say the true thing that you get scared. That somewhere inside you're still the kid on the bar stool. She looks at you kindly, missing it completely, and laughs. You're a giant. What do you have to be afraid of? And just like that, the door to your own softness clicks shut. This is the trade they never print on the box. Every inch hands you more power and quietly confiscates a permission. To be afraid out loud. To be held instead of always holding. To be small in a world that's decided your body is a shelter for everyone but you. Your niece 8 says it at a family dinner the way only a kid can. Why does everybody always make Uncle get stuff down off the high shelf? The whole table laughs. You laugh too. You're the only one faking it. Because the kid just named the cage in one sentence, and it took you 30 years and 7 inches to find the bars. Maria's at an industry thing that month, and she pitches you sharp, prepared, treating you like a tall man whose attention is worth having. She has no memory of a house party. No memory of not you, sweetie. The cruelest night of your young life didn't even make her records. You're just a big, important man she'd like something from. And the 6'5" version of you, the one you've envied since you were 22, is 1 inch up from here. More power. Even less of the man left to feel it. So you start asking the question you'll spend the rest of your life answering. What is there left to take, all the way up at the top? Level 8. 6'3". 3 in the morning, you duck through your own kitchen doorway out of pure habit because the one time you forgot, the frame won. This is the bill. The thing every man at the bottom of the tape would kill for, you renegotiate every day. Knees folded into the dash of every car. Feet off the end of every hotel bed. Airplanes are a punishment. The world was built for a man 5'10", and at 6:30 it informs you, politely and constantly, that you are not him. And you can't hide. That's the part the short you never saw coming. At 5'4", you could vanish, slip out of a room, be forgotten by lunch, and you hated it. At 6'3", you're remembered everywhere you've ever stood. The gym remembers you. The airport remembers you. The funeral remembers you. The one time you needed to disappear, to grieve, to fall apart. To not be looked at for an hour, there was no back row tall enough to hide in. The height that got you finally gloriously seen made it impossible to ever go unseen again. Then, a small mercy. A tailored chalk and pins makes you a single shirt that actually fits. Shoulders right. Sleeves to your wrists. You stand in the fitting room close to tears, because for once the world got built around your body instead of the other way around. One shirt. 3 decades. It closes the ache of the day. It does nothing for the bigger one. Then the bigger one walks in. A party. The same kind of room as that first night. The good bottle on the top shelf, just out of normal reach. And Maria, same Maria, older now, scans the room for someone tall enough. This time her eyes stop on you. She crosses the whole floor. Hey, could you? A little smile, the one you'd have died for at 22. You reach up flat-footed and hand the bottle down into her hands. It's the photograph from level 1, developed in reverse. Not you, sweetie, became only you. The reach traveled 30 years and 3 feet and landed back in your palm. And you feel none of what you hoped you'd feel, because you've lived the 5'4" life. You know exactly what she's reaching for, and it isn't you, it's the inches, same as ever. You finally got the precise thing the kid on the bar stool begged for, and getting it is what proves beyond appeal that the kid was right. She was never going to see him. She was only ever going to measure him. You hold the bottle she once walked past you to get, and you have never in your life been more certain you are not seen. So you're left with one question, and it has nothing to do with height anymore. Is being seen possible at all at any number on the tape, or only by someone with nothing left to measure? Level 9. 6'5". You walk into a room and the room rearranges itself around you. Not a metaphor. People step back to fit you in their eyeline, tilt their chins up the recount everyone does when the top of your head clears the doorframe. You're the first thing seen and the last thing forgotten in every room. This is the body the kid on the bar stool would have sold his soul for. A surgeon brilliant, nobody's fool steps half a step left before a group photo so she doesn't get lost beside you. She doesn't decide to. She's just been trained. The way the tide is trained by a moon that never asked for the job. That's what 6'5" is. You become a kind of gravity. Everything bends a little toward you, and none of it is something you can take home and be held by. You are the benchmark in every photograph and the man standing beside no one in all of them. Then, a letter. A kid you mentor, short, sharp, furious about it the exact way you used to be, writes you a note that never once mentions your height. Only the work. The hours you gave him. One thing you said that he actually used. It is, you realize on the third read, the most honest thing anyone's handed you in a decade, the only thing in years that wasn't about the inches. You frame it. You hang it where the expensive things go. It's worth more than all of them. Then he asks you the question, looking up the way you once looked up at every 6'3" stranger in every bar. How do you know, he says, if somebody likes you or just likes that you're tall? You open your mouth, and nothing true comes out that isn't also a warning, so you hand him the lie they always hand you. You'll know, you say. He believes you. You don't. So one night you drive across town to the dive from the 5-4 night remodeled now. Nothing left of the place where a woman once walked your bottle across the room in another man's hand. You sit on a stool. You order that exact bottle, the one Maria reached past you to get a lifetime ago. The bartender doesn't recognize you. Nobody does. For 20 minutes you are no one's benchmark, no gravity, no silhouette, just a man on a stool with a drink, and your feet for once flat on the floor. A woman sits down on the next stool. She doesn't know your name, your height, anything. She asks if the seat's taken. It's all yours, you say. She smiles. It costs her nothing. It is the most expensive thing you've felt in 30 years. And you finally understand what that first night really took. It was never the bottle. It was never even the inches. What she took, in that doorway when you were 22, was the last time a person looked at you before they measured you. You climbed the whole tape to win it back. It was sitting on a bar stool the entire time in the 1 second before anybody knows how tall you are. If this one stayed with you, like and drop a comment with where you're watching from. Subscribe for more.